times x plus 2, and they write that as 6 bracket x plus 2 for short. And then 6x plus 12. Okay, so you're fine for those. How about this one?
X squared plus 4x.
Yeah. And another way to think of it is if you were to split it in two. So that's x long, that's 4 long. And you'd say that area is x squared. This area is 4 times x. And so in total, the total area would be x squared plus 4x. Okay, nah, you'll be fine there. Okay, how would we do this one?
Would I first of all put it... Wait, would I just put x in one bracket and x in the other, and then put x plus 3 times x plus 2?
Yeah. So you could do it without the times sign, so it's just x plus 3 times x plus 2. Any idea how you expand that one?
Would I expand it by doing x squared?
Yeah.
Plus 3x.
Yeah.
Plus 2x plus 6.
Yep. And can you simplify that?
Yeah, so would it be x squared plus 5x plus 6?
That's it. X squared plus 5x plus 6. That's it. And same idea, if you were to split those up into 4 parts, x2, x3, you'd get 4 different sections. X squared, 3x, 2x, and 6. And then you can simplify it. Okay, I think you're going to be fine for these. How would you expand this?
Would that be x squared plus 9?
So the what does squared mean?
2 of the same number.
And so you would just write the bracket twice.
Oh, right, okay.
And so what's missing from our answer?
2x. Oh, sorry, 3x.
Yeah.
6x.
That's right. And so that's the bit. Yeah. So if you ever have a square bracket, just write it twice, and then it's exactly the same as any other double bracket.
Oh.
These are exam questions. I think you're going to be fine for these. Let's just do... Nah, I think you're going to be fine there. How would you start this one?
You would put 2t minus 3 in brackets and then put it again.
Yeah, and then just do it as normal. So 2t minus 3, 2t minus 3, and then you just go from there. Okay, I can expand double and square brackets.
To...
Yeah. Okay, so now we do the same thing working backwards. So imagine you were given an expanded bracket. The answer was this. Any idea how you work backwards to get what the two brackets were?
Isn't it that like 2x is the sum and then minus 15 is the product?
Yeah.
So would the answer be x minus 3 and x plus 5?
Yep. Okay. X minus 3, x plus 5. Okay, so you're good for factorial. And I think you're going to be fine there. Let's say if you've got two minuses.
So it's x squared minus 1 minus 12. And then would the answer be minus 4 and 3? So x minus 4 and x plus 3.
Yes, that's it. How about this one? A minus and a plus.
Would the answer be x minus 2 brackets, then x plus 5 in brackets? Oh, x minus 5 in brackets as well.
That's it, yeah. So they have to both be minus, so that when you add them, you get a minus, and minus times a minus makes a plus.
Yeah.
Okay. How about this one?
Would that be x plus 4 and x minus 4?
Yeah. Okay, so you're already good there. And if you're ever stuck, you can just put in a plus 0x, and then it's exactly the same as any other one. So two numbers, they make multiply to give minus 16, add to give 0. Okay, so these are the exam questions. I think you'll be fine. Yeah. Okay, factorize quadratics.
Yeah.
Okay, algebraic fraction. How would you simplify this fraction?
Would you take away the 2x word, so it'd just be 13x plus 42 over 12x plus 35?
No. If it was times or divide in between everything, you could do that. But because it's plus or minus, because of BIDMAS, you can't cancel down anything with plus or minus between it.
Okay. Would you first of all solve it into double brackets like each equation?
Okay, so what would they be in double brackets?
So for x squared plus 13x plus 42, would the first one be x plus 7 and x plus 6?
Yeah. How about the bottom one?
And then bottom one would be would the bottom one be x plus 5 and x plus 7, or x plus 7?
Yeah. Okay. Any idea how you can simplify that now?
Because it's in brackets, we'll be allowed to take x plus 7 and x plus 7 away from each other.
Correct. Basically, yeah, it's because they're being multiplied by each other. So we just don't write in the times sign. But now there's a times sign between the two of them. And so now you can cancel down what they've got in common. And you're right. And so what's your final answer?
X plus 6 over x plus 5.
That's it. And so to simplify algebraic fractions, fully factorize the top, fully factorize the bottom, and cancel down anything they have in common. Okay, so these are exam questions. What would be the bottom for this, or what would this be?
So alright, yeah, so do I just need to solve the bottom one here?
Yeah, top one can't be factorized.
So would the bottom one be x plus 3 and x minus 3?
Yeah. And then
And
what?
then, because I've got x minus 3 and x minus 3, I'd take those both away, and then it'd just be x plus 3 on its own.
And so what's your final answer?
1 over x plus 3.
Correct. So a lot of students don't get the 1 over bit. That's right. 1 over x plus 3. This one is very similar. I will just do it just in case.
So would the top bit be x plus 3 and x plus 2?
Yeah.
And then we'll take away both x plus 2's, so it's just x plus 3 over 1, or just on its own.
Correct. X plus 3, yeah. And again, lots of students would make a mistake with the over 1 thing. X plus 3. And I think X plus 3 over 1 would be fine as well. Any idea about this one?
Would the top bit be x plus 3 and x minus 1?
So the top bit, so because we've been doing more challenging ones, a lot of the time students forget how to do the easier ones. When you're factorizing a quadratic, it's got 3 terms and nothing in common. This one on the top has only got 2 terms. How would you factorize that? So this won't factorize into a double bracket on the top. I tell you what, factorize the bottom.
Okay. So would the bottom be x minus 3 and x minus 5?
Okay, and does that give you a clue as to what might be on top?
Would it be x minus 3 and x plus 1?
So that would be if there's 2 brackets. So on the bottom you've got 3 terms with nothing in common, so that's double brackets. On the top you've only got 2 terms, so that's going to be a single bracket.
So would it be x? Would it be x in the first bit, then put x minus 3?
Correct. Yeah.
And
yep.
So you take away both x minus 3's,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got x over x minus 5.
And that's it.
Okay.
Because, yeah, you can't possibly factorize the top and the bottom either. And it's got plus or minus. So this one on top was, believe it or not, easier. It's just that because you've been doing harder stuff, you've forgotten about that. If you've got a common factor, they both have x, then you can easily just put an x on the outside. And it's just one bracket. Any questions there?
No.
Okay. How would you factorize this? Or sorry, how would you simplify it?
So the top would be x and then x plus 2. So like x outside the brackets and then x plus 2 in the brackets.
No? What does squared mean?
Right, sorry. So it would be x plus 2 and x plus 2.
Yeah.
And then over x plus 2.
Yeah.
So you would cancel one x plus 2 from the top and then the bottom one as well, and then you'd just be left with x plus 2 as the answer.
That's it. And so very often it's easy to just write the bracket twice. Some people just do it in one go, where they kind of do this or something up at there. But I think just write the bracket twice and you'll always go right. Okay, I can simplify algebraic fractions.
Tick.
Okay. Now let's try this one. 2 numbers that multiply to give 0. Any 2 numbers.
3 and 0.
2 more.
1 and 0.
2 more.
0 and 0.
So all of these have at least 1 0 in them. Is it possible to multiply 2 numbers and get 0 where one of those 2 numbers is not 0?
No.
No, it's not possible. And so if you see one number times another number and the answer is 0, you know that either A must be equal to 0 or B must be equal to 0. So either the first thing is 0 or the second thing is 0.
Right, okay.
Or like we saw in the middle one, they could both be 0. Okay, so this one here, any idea how we can use that to solve this?
Yeah. So if we first of all find out put that into double brackets.
Yeah.
So uh, yeah. So the first one. So that would turn into x minus 6 and x minus 1.
Yeah.
And then don't you like split those two in half and then you solve them so that they both give the answer equals to 0?
Yeah.
So
So, yeah, go on.
for the first one you would do x minus 6 equals to 0, and then you take the 6 to the other side so that the answer is x equals to 6. And then for the other bit you would put x minus 1 equals to 0, and then you take the 1 to the other side and you'd get x equals to 1.
Correct. Yeah. So basically, you've got x is just a number, so x minus 6 will just turn out to be a number. Some number times some other number gives you 0. Either the first one is 0 or the second one is 0, because it must be to give you the answer 0. And so either x minus 6 is 0 or x minus 1 is 0. So either x is 6 or x is 1. How could you check your answer?
You uh, could you do the actual answer with one of those numbers into the equation?
Yeah, so let's try 1. So 1 squared?
Is 1.
Minus 7 times 1?
So minus 6.
No, minus 7 times 1. That'd be plus.
Minus 7 times 1. Is that just minus 7?
Yeah. So minus 7x means minus 7 times x.
Yeah.
And plus 6 is the constant. And so 1 minus 7 plus 6, does that equal 0?
Yeah.
That equals 0. And so we know at least one of our answers is correct. And I'm sure the other one is correct as well if we put that in.
Okay.
Yeah. 36 plus 6, is that the same as 7 times 6? Yeah, it is. Okay, any questions there?
Yeah. Oh, no, sorry, no.
Okay, so that's all they were looking for. These are all very similar. Okay, let's try this one.
So do we put x outside the bracket and then we put x minus 3 inside the bracket?
Yep.
And then would we split those two up so that it's x equals to, so that it's like split up and from x minus 3?
Mm-hmm.
And then so that would mean that I think that on the left x is equals to 0.
Yep.
And then on the right we have to do x, so we would put x minus 3 equals to 0, and then we take the minus 3 to the other side, and then it's x equals to 3.
That's it. Okay, so you were much better at that this time, at the single bracket. Yeah, so this, and another way to think of this bracket that you wrote, it's x on the outside and then x minus 3 on the inside. That literally just means x times x minus 3. And so basically x is a number, you've got two numbers times each other, and they equal to 0, so you know that either this one is 0 or this one is 0. And so looks a bit weird, but basically, yeah, x equals 0 if it's outside the bracket by itself. Okay, any questions there?
No.
Okay. Let's do the I'll look at the exam questions there. I'll be better. Okay, what would this one be?
Would it be x and x minus 36, so like x is outside the bracket and then x inside the bracket, or
so that would be if this was 36x.
oh right, okay. Would that be would that be one bracket because there's two numbers, or
The problem is they have nothing in common, so there is no common factor you can take out.
would it be x plus 6 and x minus 6?
Correct, yeah. And if you were to write it a different way, it would be x squared plus 0x minus 36. And so that would look more like a normal quadratic. Okay, that's equal to 0.
Um,
And so the answer for this one?
X equals to minus 6 and x equals to 6.
That's it. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure you're okay there, and you are. These are the exam questions. You answered the previous parts, and I think you're going to be fine for all of these. Yep. Okay, I can solve quadratics.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to now go to the harder stuff. And at the end... Oh, why is this so bad? Substitution. Here we go. Okay, any idea how we solve this quadratic equation?
Do we have to times 3 and minus 13?
So you're thinking about factorizing. For this one, they give you this formula. Have you seen this one before?
I think I have, yeah.
Okay. So basically, the quadratic, when it's written in this form, this is the formula. So this can solve all quadratic equations. So for this question, what is A, what is B, what is C? And all quadratics can be written in the form ax squared plus bx plus c.
Is A 3?
Yeah.
And then B is 7.
Yeah.
And C is minus 13.
That's it. Okay, so for this one, x equals and using our formula, what do we do?
Right, so we would put x equals to, so in the top bit of the fraction, so the numerator of the fraction, we would put minus 7.
Yep.
And then plus minus square root. 49.
Sure, I'll just write 7 squared.
Alright. Minus 4 times 3 times minus 13.
Yeah.
And then divide that by 6.
Okay, I'll just write 2 times 3. That's it. You literally just put that into a calculator. I'll just do 1. Do you have a calculator on you?
No, sorry.
That's alright. So make the fraction first. Minus 7. How do I deal with this plus minus thing? Because I don't have that on my calculator.
Do you just use the square root without having to put the plus minus bit?
So the way you do it is you put plus first and you put in everything, and then when you get the answer you just edit it and put in minus instead.
Oh, right, okay.
Times 3 times minus 13. That's all over 2 times 3. Okay, so this one to 2 decimal places.
To 2 decimal, 1.22.
Yeah, so x equals 1.22. And you can see they have the or there. So x equals 1.22 or x equals, so that whole thing, keep it where it is, just press left or right. And, come on, okay, delete, and change the plus to a minus. So use that delete key and just press equals. 2 decimal places.
Minus 3.55.
That's it. So minus 3.55. Okay, x equals 1.22 or x equals minus 3.55. Any questions there?
In the actual exam, they won't. You need to remember the formula, don't you?
No, they give you the formula.
Oh, they give you the formula.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
So there are some tricks to it, which I'll show you in a second. But basically, they give you the formula ax squared plus bx plus c. So you've got the number in front of x squared, the number in front of x, and the number with no x. You put those three into the formula, and out pops your two answers.
Okay.
Yeah, and you've just got to, with your calculator, change the plus to a minus to get the second one. And maybe I'll just show you. So let's say, so if I just make it as simple as possible. So in other words, we had those two answers there, x equals 1 or x equals the other. So that's like what we saw earlier, where we had the two answers. X squared equals 9. What is x equal to?
3.
Any other number?
Minus 3.
Yeah, and so that's why you're getting these two answers for a quadratic. That's just where that's coming from. Okay, this one, what's A, what's B, what's C? Actually, you know what? You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Let me move on to this thing. This one here. What is A?
1.
Correct. Fine. 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 Okay. This one, what's A, what's B, what's C?
A is A1 and B is 1 and C is 11.
So there's a trick for this one. This formula works when it's ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0.
Oh, and it's equal to 14.
Mm-hmm.
So would I do 11 plus 14 or minus 14 to get the answer?
That's right.
So would that be C is equals to minus 3?
Correct. And then it would just be exactly the same as anything else. So you just, after that, you would just put it into your formula as normal. Yeah, so you just have to make sure that you make it equal to 0 in order to solve the quadratic. And you have to do the same if you're factorizing it and other times as well. Okay, any questions with that one?
No.
Okay, I think you're fine for those. And I was going to do one completing the square. Have you done that yet?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay, we'll do this completing the square.
Okay.
Let's see. You'll be fine there. Which of these would expand to give you a 2x as the x term?
Would it be x plus 1 squared?
Yep. That's fine. So x plus 3 squared is a perfect square. X plus 3 squared plus 1 is not a perfect square because it can't be written as 1 bracket squared. So each of these, left or right, perfect square or not.
Well, sorry, say that again. So the one on the right isn't a perfect square. So what do you want to do now?
So you'd say, like, does this go left or right?
Oh, right. So yeah, left.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Left.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right and left.
That's it. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So basically, when you have 1x squared, if b over 2 squared is equal to c, then it can be written as a perfect square. So let's say this first one, could that be written as a perfect square?
Yes.
Yep. How about the next one?
9.
No. So each of these, perfect square or not perfect square, left or right?
Right. So, left.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Correct.
Um. Right.
What is half of minus 16?
-8.
And minus 8 squared?
Is 64.
And so
So
this.
left. Sorry.
All right.
Uh, um. Yeah. Left.
Yep.
Right.
Correct. Why is that one right?
Because if you put -5 and -5, that would give you 25, not -25.
That's it. Okay, I'll leave those bottom two. What would these three be as perfect squares in perfect square form?
X plus 5 and x plus 20. X plus 5.
Yeah, and I'll just write that as x plus 5 all squared.
Yeah.
Okay, under it.
X -8 and x -8.
Yeah.
So x plus 8 squared.
Yeah.
And x minus 6 squared.
Yeah. You already know that it's going to be a perfect square. You already said it would be a perfect square. Okay. Any questions there?
No.
Okay. So those perfect squares. What would you have to change? Change one thing to make this one a perfect square.
Would you change that to x squared plus 7x plus 12?
No. Half of 7 squared doesn't give you 12. So you can change anything. You could change to 12.
Could you do x squared plus 6x plus a 8?
What is half of 6 squared?
3.
Yeah. And then square it.
9.
And so what would C have to be?
Oh, would it be x plus? Would it be x squared plus 6x plus 9.
Correct. Yeah. That'd be a 9. How about the next one? Actually, how about the last one?
Would it be x squared plus 8x plus 16?
That'd be 16. That's right. Yeah. That's it. Okay, got it. That's same idea. That one. All right, let's just do the last one. E.
So would I write that as x plus 2 plus 7?
No, I would just expand the bracket as normal and then just add 7 at the end.
So x squared plus 2 plus 7.
Now, how do you expand the square bracket?
Oh, sorry. X plus 1, x plus 1 plus 7.
Yeah. And what do you get when you expand that?
2x plus 1x plus 1x plus plus 7.
Hold on. So, what's the first thing you get when you multiply x plus 1 times x plus 1?
X squared.
Yeah, x squared. Okay, so x squared. You said plus 2x. What else?
Plus 2x again.
Okay, so it'll be like plus x plus x.
Yeah.
Okay. And then?
And then plus 1.
Correct. There you go. And then plus 7 afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, simplify.
X squared plus 2x plus 8.
Well done. Plus 8. Okay, we better try D.
Okay. So x plus 2 and x plus 2 plus 4.
Yeah.
And then we would do so x squared.
Mm-hmm.
And then plus 2x.
Yeah.
Plus 2x again.
Yeah.
And plus 4 plus 4.
Yeah.
And then we would get x squared plus 4x plus 8.
Well done. X squared plus 4x plus 8. Okay. Okay. What do you get when you do these ones? Let's try the first one.
So x plus 5 and x plus 5.
Yep.
And then minus 25 after so.
Yeah.
And then x squared
Mm-hmm.
plus 5x
Yeah.
plus 5x. And then I think that's all you need to write, really.
Yeah, you're right. And so that simplifies to?
X squared plus 10x.
squared plus 10x. That's it. So, and why do we have no constant there?
Because when you add 25 and minus 25, that would give you 0, and you don't need to add the 0.
That's it. And so if you ever had to work backwards, if you ever had to do something like, if you had to write x plus 6x into a perfect square, so you would do half of 6 is 3, because you always get the 2 x's in the middle. So that would give you, if you wrote it like that, you would get x squared, you would get plus 3x, you would have an extra plus 9, so you just stick a minus 9 afterwards, a minus 3 squared. Any questions with that?
No.
And so you can see on each of these, they just have a minus 25 because that's 5 squared, a minus 9 because that's 3 squared, minus 9 because that's also minus 3 squared, and minus 49 because that's minus 7 squared. And so you'll end up with no number, just the x's. Okay, let's try these.
Right. So would that just be x plus 3 and then squared?
Yep.
And then
So then how about the next one?
Will that just be
What's the difference between A and B?
I need to add q.
So if you look at the start bit, there's no plus 9.
Yeah.
So how can we get rid of the plus 9?
Could we put the x plus 3 squared minus 9?
Correct. So you just put in the minus 9. Okay, see?
Could we put x plus 3 squared plus 5?
That's it. 3 squared plus 5. And then they want us to sketch the graph. Are you doing further maths? Or just...
For GCSE... Wait, sorry. Is further maths GCSE or A-level?
So that's... it's called additional maths or further maths.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing it or not.
Okay, so I'll leave that. It's the same idea. Oops. Yeah, that's the same idea. Okay, let's try this one.
So x, would that be x, would that be x and open, and then outside the brackets, and then you close the brackets, and then it's x plus, and then it's x plus 2.
So it's got a plus 7 as well?
And then yeah, add the 7 at the end.
No. You would have to write it as a perfect square, and so you do that by halving the middle one.
So would you do x plus so x and then x plus 1 and then plus 7?
So how would you, as a perfect square, you always remove the you always just half the b. So x plus 1 squared, and then go from there. So what would that make that the top, the same as the top one? So x plus 1 squared, you're going to have, that'll give you x squared. It'll give you plus 1x, so plus 2x. So you've got the x squared, you've got the 2x. It'll give you an extra plus 1. So we'll a plus 1 squared. So we'll just minus 1 squared. And then bring back the plus 7. So
Right.
what would that simplify to?
Well, that simplified to x plus 7.
No.
7x.
So we'll simplify the end two numbers.
So plus 8.
Minus 1 squared to become a plus would have to be in a bracket like that.
Oh, right. So would that be minus 2 plus 7?
No. So you're just taking away 1 squared. What is 1 times 1?
1.
Yeah. So it's like minus 1 plus 7.
Sorry, 6 plus 6.
That's it. So that thing up there in perfect square form, in completed square form we call it, that's when it's got the thing at the end, is x plus 1 because it's half of that, and then minus the extra 1 and plus 7 gives us plus 6. So I think we need to practice this.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try that first one.
Okay, so for the first one, if we have x plus 2x minus 1,
hang on, I tell you what, let's try B. Let's start with B.
Okay. So x squared plus 8x, would we put, so x,
so how would you write it as x plus something squared? That would give you an x squared and an 8x when you expand it. So you know how when you expand a double bracket you always get 2 x's in the middle?
Yeah.
So this 2 x's in the middle will add up to give 8x. So what would those x's have to be?
Would that have to be the same?
Yeah.
So would that be x plus 4?
Yeah, that's right. It'd be 4x and 4x. So this bracket is x plus 4 squared. If we expand this bracket, we're going to get x squared. We're going to get plus 4x. So that'll be 8x. We'll have something extra left over though. What will that be?
Do I have to work out? Do I have to work out the equation?
So basically, if I was to expand this double bracket, I'd get x squared plus 4x. What else would I get?
X squared plus 4x. You would get x squared plus 8x, and then sorry. So you get x squared plus 2x.
No.
Or sorry, plus 16.
Plus 16. So this would give us an extra plus 16. So we need to make it x squared plus 8x. So what do we have to do to make our answer work? Because we're going to get an extra plus 16.
Do we have to add an extra plus 16 at the end?
That's right. So you just put minus 16 at the end to make it equal.
Okay.
And that's how you do it. Basically, so it's it's basically in this perfect square x plus half of the b. So x plus 4 squared minus 4 squared. Like minus whatever that squared is. Yeah. Okay, let's try C.
So x squared plus 12x. So do we put x plus 6 and then squared?
Yeah.
And then then do we put like minus 36?
Correct. That's it. You've done it. Okay, let's try D.
Okay. So we put x plus 3 squared.
Yeah.
And then it's plus 25.
Well, do the two separately. So if the 11 wasn't there, what would you put after it?
Minus 36.
No. Look at the bracket.
Sorry, minus 9.
Yeah. And now we bring this, and now we just put in this extra 11 and simplify it.
So x plus 3 squared plus 2.
Well done. That's it. X plus 3 squared plus 2. And let's try the last one, E.
Okay, so x minus 2 squared.
Yeah.
And then we would add at the end would we add plus 16?
So look at the bracket. When you expand this bracket, what extra number will you get?
We would get minus 4.
Yeah. And now we just do this plus 6. And what would that simplify to?
X minus 2 squared plus 2.
Well done. Any questions there?
No.
Okay. And now... Okay, so that one x a half or tick?
For a half.
Okay. And so what I want to do now, simplify these thirds. How would you solve A?
Would we take the minus 1 to the other side?
Yeah.
And then we'd get x equals to plus minus square root of 3 plus 1.
That's
and then,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. You can write the answer like that.
Okay.
Okay, so this one, put this in completed square form.
Sorry, which one?
X squared plus 4x plus 1. Actually, let me just go back for a second.
Okay.
So I'm going to take one that you did. Let's take B and C. Let me just copy those. So now let's solve B and C. And so if those were equal to 0, let's say starting with B, if those were equal to 0, how would you solve it?
So if so if it was like x equals 4 minus 16, 0.
Yeah, so this one, it's equal to 0.
Okay, so would you put so you'd put x plus 4 and x plus 4.
No. Bring the 16 to the other side. What does it become?
X plus 4 and x plus times x plus 4 is equal to 16.
Okay. Square root both sides. What do you get?
Square root.
What will happen if you square root the left side?
Would we? Would that just take away the square sign, the square root, the square sign at the end?
Correct. So that just leaves you with x plus 4.
Is equals to 4.
Yes, and
4 minus 4.
yeah, plus or minus 4.
Yeah.
And so, go on.
And then do I have to do the bottom one now?
Now get x equals.
Oh, right, sorry. So, and then we take the x, the plus 4 to the other side. So it's plus minus 4 minus 4, and that, and then, yeah. So x equals to that.
So x equals minus 4 plus or minus 4. So actually, x will be equal to minus 4 plus 4, or x equals minus 4 minus 4. What are those two?
So x will either be equals to 0 or minus 8.
That's it. X equals 0 or x equals minus 8. So that's called completing the square and solving by completing the square.
Right. Okay.
Let's just do this last one.
Okay. So would that be x plus 2?
Yeah.
And then would it be minus 0 plus 1?
Not minus 0.
Minus minus 4 plus 1 is equals to 0.
Yeah.
And then could we take the minus 1 and plus 1 to the other side?
Yeah.
So then there would be x plus 2 squared is equals to 3, minus 3, sorry.
You're confusing yourself. So minus 3 is on the left side.
Yeah.
So when you bring it to the right side?
It would be... Would it be 3?
Yeah. Okay. Next.
X plus... Wait, am I doing the next one now?
So now you would... We're trying to get x equals.
Oh, right, sorry. And then we take the square root sign from x plus 2 squared onto the 3.
Right.
And then we would take the two from the left side to the right side, so it's square root of 3 minus 2.
Okay.
And then x is on its own.
So x equals minus 2 root 3. And something's missing. We're missing one answer.
Isn't it plus minus?
That's right, yeah. And actually, that's fine. You can leave it like that. You could write it the long way. X equals minus 2 plus root 3. Or x equals minus 2 minus root 3. Or just a short way. X equals minus 2 plus or minus root 3. Any questions with that?
No.
Okay, so that's... Let me just look at the exam questions, if I have them. There was one type that we didn't get onto where you've got 2x squared and that type of stuff. So exam style question. Oh yeah, because this is new to GCSE. That's why there weren't any. Well, so you can get an idea of this. It's exactly like the question you just did there. These exam style questions. Yeah. How did you find that, Andrey?
Yeah. Yeah, I found it.
Well, that's really all of quadratics, I imagine. Solving quadratics. Was there any other type of quadratics that you were stuck on? Was it any like graphs or anything for next time? Or?
No, I don't. No, I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. Any idea what you want to do next time?
I don't mind.
Okay. Well done, Andrey. You did great, and I look forward to talking to you again next time.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
All right. Have a good week. Goodbye.
See you.